Hey everyone, today I'll be showing you guys how to unbrick your PSP Go. Here's my PSP model 1001. So recently I've encountered a issue with my PSP. It's currently on a brick state. I found a solution that has worked for me. I thought I'd share it around. Hopefully it can help other people to unbrick their PSP. So I will show you that it is indeed bricked currently. So when you turn it on, you'll see a blue flicker on the top and the power indicator will turn off. I will say that it's running official firmware at the moment. It does have custom firmware on the memory card, but it is not running any custom firmware. The firmware version is 6.6. So yeah, you will see that it should turn off any second. Yep, everything has turned off. So the solution that I found that has worked for me is if you hold the home button or the PS logo here, hold that while turning it on, everything should boot up back to normal. Yep, everything's back. Now when you reach this state, I'd highly recommend you reset your firmware and your system just to avoid any future issues. If you're running temporary custom firmware, I'd highly recommend you reset your system. If you're running a more permanent custom firmware, I'd say it'd be okay if you want to just run your firmware now. So I will show you that my custom firmware is working. So yep, after I get to here, I will launch custom firmware and reboot. Also forgot to mention, if you turn off your PSP while it's on official firmware, it will go back to a brick state. At least for me, that's what it did. The reason my PSP ended up in a brick state was I uninstalled my custom firmware and I turned off my PSP, and when I went to turn it back on, it ended up becoming a bricked PSP. So I can show you that the custom firmware is running now. Yeah, everything's fine. Yep, 6.6. You see, I can access my menu. And I can show you that once you turn it off and turn it back on again, it will stay on custom firmware 6.6 and it won't be bricked. Yep, everything's back to normal. Yep, and you can continue using your PSP Go as normal. Hopefully this solves your bricked PSP and you can continue enjoying your games.